Cruises Europe. Today I'm going to do a complete review of Serenade of the Seas. I was lucky enough to go on her in 2017 and I want to give you as much up-to-date information and give you some hints and tips about this wonderful ship. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click like and subscribe to my channel, Amy Cruises Europe.
Shoes and have some fun. And get ready, get set, let's go. If we never go, we'll never know. 'Cause you and I, oh yeah, we could fly so high.
So, a little overview about Serenade of the Seas. She is one of the 4 Radiance class ships. She is sisters with Brilliance, Radiance and Jewel of the Seas. They all are slightly different in some ways, some of the interiors, but overall they are all the same standard style of ship. These are the second smallest type of ship, if you're not including Majesty and Empress, in the Royal Caribbean fleet. Serenade of the Seas was built in 2003 and so she is quite a newer ship in their collection. She can hold 2,490 passengers, so she's not the biggest ship, she's not one that has loads and loads of passengers, but with the smaller size that's good. Usually it's quite a nice intimate size. I always like to talk about the godmothers of the ships. Hers is quite a famous one, if you like Sister Act, Whoopi Goldberg. So Whoopi Goldberg is the godmother of Serenade of the Seas. One other little fact, which is I think quite amazing about Serenade and all the Radiance class ships, is that they are gas turbined. So instead of being completely diesel powered, they have a much more environmentally friendly way of powering their ships. It also means that they are less likely to feel that shuddering effect that you sometimes get in some of the ships on the higher floors. You have that do 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 do. You don't get that because there isn't the diesel powered engines. I like this personally because it means that if I am feeling a little bit too much after a few drinks the night before, I don't have any of that slightly ooh effect. Okay, some of the activities on Radiance class ships might surprise you. People think smaller ship, less activities, but that is completely wrong on a Radiance class ship. They have the standard Royal Caribbean things such as the Royal Theatre, they have the casino, and they've got sports courts, etc. However, I'm going to go through a few of these and explain great things about these areas on the ship. So firstly, that Royal Theatre is beautiful. The seats are more spread out. I find that they're quite wider than some of the other ships, which means that you can actually have a bit more space around you when you're watching the shows. This is because there's less people on the ships and because they wanted that sort of feel around it. I found that the shows that they don't have the Broadway style shows, but they have really good intimate shows, such as the dancing, the singing, the comedians, the magicians, all of that variety that they have in all of their other amazing ships. They also did lectures, which I thought was really fascinating. Because we were going to St. Petersburg, they did a lecture on St. Petersburg and Russia by a Russian crew member. This was fascinating and I learned loads before even going to the venues, so I thought that was a really good activity that they laid on Serenade of the Seas. One thing that the Radiance class ships have that the other class ships don't is this cinema. The other classes of ships, they have this outdoor cinema, you can watch movies under the stars. However, I really enjoyed the intimacy of a proper cinema on board. On Serenade of the Seas, even on the coldest days, yes, we were going around Finland, there was cold days, we were able to sit inside and watch some really good films. They're all mainly up to date. They did put a few that were themed, but mainly up to date, and they run throughout the day. So you can keep watching different films. They had films for children as well as adults. As our ship only had 20 people under the age of 18 on board, they had more 12, 15 plus films on throughout the day. And these were really, really good. Serenade of the Seas also has a lot of things geared towards children. You wouldn't have thought it with a smaller class of ship, but they have half a sports court, so they can do loads of activities like the basketball, etc. all throughout that. They also have table tennis tables, and they have a specialised pool area called Adventure Beach, which has slides and is geared towards the younger children that might sail on Royal Caribbean. This is really useful because it means then the main pool has less children jumping around, running about, because you have this separate pool area for those younger children. This was helpful when I went because I went with just my husband, so we didn't have children at the time, and it was more relaxing being away from those areas. They also have mini golf. A lot of Royal Caribbean ships have the mini golf, but these were the first fitted ones. So recently they've upgraded the mini golf on a lot of Royal Caribbean ships, and they've put it in different locations. There are also table tennis tables, which are near the Windjammer on Serenade of the Seas. These sometimes do get a bit of a breeze through, but there are doors there. So once the doors are closed, then there is no wind through that area. They do competitions throughout the day, and I found that on Serenade of the Seas, the activity staff were fantastic. They were always there, they got to know all the people that do those activities. It felt like more like we knew everybody on the ship after a while. And of course, they have the rock climbing wall. One of Royal Caribbean's amazing things on every single ship, they have a rock climbing wall. This is great because you're on a smaller ship, so you have more chance of getting on and being able to do the rock climbing at certain times in the day. Some of the bigger ships, I find that there's too much of a queue to wait. Another thing is the casino. Yes, they're on every ship, but with Serenade of the Seas, because it is slightly smaller, it means that you've got more of a chance of getting on with machines. Also, because it is smaller, they have more of a chance that they want to entice people into those casinos. Especially sailing around Europe, you find that the casinos aren't as popular and busy as they usually are in the United States. When I was on Serenade of the Seas, they gave me an incentive. They gave me $5 to play on their machines. So I went down to the casino and I played with my $5 and I won. It was amazing. Not much, but I did win, and so I put it then onto my sea pass and paid off a bit of the cruise. If you have children, a great thing about Serenade of the Seas is that it does have the Royal Tots and Babies and Adventure Ocean. I understand that most ships have Adventure Ocean, but not all have the Royal Tots and Babies. If you want to go on a Radiance class ship and you have a little one under the age of 3, I would recommend that you go on either Serenade, Brilliance or Radiance of the Seas. Unfortunately, Jewel of the Seas does not have the Royal Tots and Babies. So just make sure when you are booking that you ensure that you have that on board, so you have that time to put your child into those nurseries, then you can have a great experience on board. Another great part on Serenade of the Seas is the food. Like I said on many of my other videos, the food in Royal Caribbean is amazing anyway. There are a few great things on Serenade of the Seas that make it even more wow, such as in the Windjammer, they have themed nights. A lot of the other ships do this, but I think they do this really well on Serenade of the Seas. They have a whole section in the Windjammer which is basically for those themed dinners. Every single night it is linked to a different country. So for example, we've had Indian, Chinese, English, and even things like Filipino dishes, Korean dishes. It was brilliant. I got to try foods from all over the world while being on one place, one ship. It was great. It also meant that crew members who are from those countries came and explained the different dishes to me and what would be the best accompaniments with those. They also have the main dining room. I felt this was smaller, and my biggest tip is that if you are going on a shorter cruise or you don't really like that dining room experience every single day, I would go to the Windjammer for dinner because the same food is in the dining room as in the Windjammer. So you can have as much as you want in that Windjammer instead of having to go to the dining room, sit down and ask for the food, and it being a more long drawn out process, which is lovely sometimes. I felt on a cruise which was quite itinerary based that I wanted to actually relax in the evenings. They also have the speciality dining. They have Chops on board, so Chops Grill, and Giovanni's restaurant, which is the Italian. These were both fantastic on Serenade of the Seas. We go there for special occasions, such as we went for our anniversary that year. One thing we also loved, food-wise, was in the solarium. So this is the adults only pool area. They have Park Cafe. This meant that when we're sitting, laying down, relaxing by the pool, we don't have to go very far to get a little bite to eat. They do things in there like salad boxes that you can pick what you want from the salad, and they do things like paninis. My husband loved the cheese paninis. He had one every day. This meant that we didn't have to go too far, so it meant we could actually have all that we wanted in one place, and we didn't have to go traipsing around the ship, going to the Windjammer, etc. to get something to eat. And another little gem is in the Centrum. So in the Centrum on Serenade of the Seas, there is this lovely cafe called Cafe Latitudes. This had the best desserts I've had on Royal Caribbean ships. They had these little cheesecake lollipops, which were to die for. I had so many of those on Serenade of the Seas, be it from just before I left to go off to a destination such as St. Petersburg or Tallinn, or when I got back just to cure my hunger before dinner. It was brilliant. And the beverages too were fantastic. They had all different types of flavours that you could have in your coffee. They had all different types of coffee, and it was in the best location just on the Centrum. So you could look at any of the activities or entertainment that are happening in the Centrum at that time while having something very tasty. Serenade of the Seas is also very much like every other Royal Caribbean ship with the bars. The selection of bars on board are fantastic. I felt as though I spent a lot of time in the schooner bar because there were quizzes, activities happening constantly, and it was right next to the Safari Club. So I was able to go from venue to venue to see different things and activities happening. They also had pool tables right near the bar, which meant that I could play a bit of pool, have a little bit to drink, and just enjoy my cruise. Current itineraries. You might be thinking, why is she doing a review of Serenade of the Seas? It is not in Europe at the moment. Yes, I know that. I know that she is currently sailing in Australia, South Pacific, but even though this is the case, I wanted to give you a review of Serenade of the Seas because she's very similar to the other Radiance class ships. She may come back to Europe. She should come back to Europe. I think she is an amazing all-rounder ship. She can do the colder climates, the warmer climates. She can go to all different smaller ports because of her size. She is so geared towards Europe that we will see her back in the future. When she was here, I did the Baltic cruise with her. So going up from Copenhagen, and we went through Sweden, Tallinn, we went to Finland, we went to Russia, we went all around those areas. She also does the fjords when she's in Europe, and she has done the Greek islands before. Her other sister ships are doing cruises around the Greek islands, going through the Suez Canal towards Dubai, and even doing things in the Mediterranean. These are all-rounder ships, so we will see her back in Europe sometime soon. Okay, a bit of special information, extra information about Serenade of the Seas. I have a great tip for you if you're sailing anywhere that's beautiful on Serenade of the Seas. So if you are sailing around the fjords, if you are sailing through the Archipelago in Sweden, if you are sailing in other countries and actually sailing through Alaska, please find a seat in vintages. The great thing about vintages on Serenade of the Seas is that it is by the window. So it's right by the edge of the ship, which is unlike other ships in Royal Caribbean's fleet. So you can actually sit by the window, relax, have a drink and have it served to you while you are watching these beautiful sights. The Swedish archipelago was amazing. It was so pretty seeing all these little tiny islands appearing in front of us as we were having a nice drink. So I had my cava and I was just sitting back and relaxing for hours on end. It was beautiful. Another top tip is that sometimes in the Windjammer they have crepes being made. You have to go up to the people and they'll make crepes for you, because these are like pancakes from Britain, but you need to make sure you know where they are. And they're usually in the middle section. So this is on Serenade of the Seas, they're in the centre section of the Windjammer, and there's someone making crepes, and there's so many different accompaniments that you can put with them. Talking about accompaniments, there are also areas of that Windjammer where they have loads of different toppings for like burgers, pizzas, bolognese, everything. I would go there every day, get a load of chips, go over to the area, and they had grated cheese. So you could then have cheesy chips, making it a little bit more special. Another thing you might not be completely aware of, Serenade of the Seas, is that in their solarium, it's not always just for over 16s. Because it sails in colder climates, sometimes this area gets opened up to all age groups. So if you have a family and you're thinking, I want to sail in a cooler climate like the Baltics or like the fjords, which usually do get a bit chillier at certain times of the year, please do not worry that your children will not be able to go in the pool. Pools do get very cold in the open areas, but because it's an indoor solarium, it is still quite warm. They also put in different heatings to make it that nicer climatised feel. It's not all the time though, so if you are a couple and you're thinking, oh no, I'm going to have children running around everywhere, do not worry. It's only at certain times of the day. Talking about children in that area too, because the park cafe is in that area, children are allowed in the solarium section of the ship, just not in the pools. So if you do have children, do not worry if they go in that section, and if anyone asks you for them to move, say that they are at Park Cafe having something to eat. One last tip is to make sure you go into the glass elevators. These are amazing. They are one of the only ships where you can look out at the sea while you are riding up and down the elevators. I hope you enjoyed my review of Serenade of the Seas. If you have any more information or want to comment on why you love Serenade of the Seas or any of the Radiance cast, please comment in the comments section below. I hope to see you next time on Amy Cruises Europe.
If you enjoyed this video, click here to subscribe to my channel, Amy Cruises Europe, so you never miss a video. And also, click here to see the best videos about cruising Royal Caribbean in Europe.